Alright guys, welcome to the next video on the Desmos Scientific Calculator. In these next couple of videos, we're going to focus on material that's real specific to Math 102, to statistics. So we can see in these sample questions here that I have some kind of typical stats class questions. The first of which is to find the mean of this list of numbers, right? That's something that I have to do a lot of the time in stats. A lot of times when I start a problem, I first have to find the mean. So what's really nice is that because Desmos is a scientific calculator, it has buttons to kind of help me do this automatically. So if I come over here to the function menu where a lot of the functions are, there's a button here that says mean. And I can press it and get the word mean there, and I can start to input my numbers. And as I keep typing my list, it will keep updating until finally I have the right answer. Right, and it just does it for me automatically. I don't even really have to think about my mean formula, right? And I can get this answer as a fraction, depending on how my professor wants it. Likewise, a lot of times we have to find the standard deviation or the sample standard deviation. And Desmos has a button for that too. It's right here, right? In Excel, we do standard deviation with an S here, but in Desmos there is no S there. It's just STDEV, that's it. And right, I can type in my list, it's the same list of numbers, and it spits out my sample standard deviation. And then finally, I have the same list of numbers, but for population standard deviation. And you may have guessed it, that's going to be the standard deviation with the letter P at the end. It's a lot less common, but a lot of times in statistics, we have to calculate this. So I can put in these numbers again. See, I get a slightly different standard deviation, a little bit lower, but awesome, right? Desmos did this for me automatically. The standard deviation formula really is a big one. I don't want to have to bother using it. I can just use Desmos to find these numbers for me. It's really helpful when I'm working through a problem really quickly, and I just need to quickly get the standard deviation. Right, these next two that we're interested in, both are with variance. And variance, even though, you know, it kind of bold faces, it's not something I can actually do on Desmos. It won't do variance for me, right? But I have to remember that variance is just standard deviation squared. So for this first bullet, where I have to find the sample variance of these numbers, which I think I will copy paste. First, I'm going to find the standard deviation of these numbers. And then I know that the variance is just the standard deviation times the standard deviation, right? It's standard deviation squared. So I'll come back here to my exponents and things and say squared. There I have my sample variance, and I could have a fraction if I want, or a decimal if that's what I want. But that's awesome, right? It can do variance automatically for me as long as I remember that variance is just standard deviation squared. And then it will be the same thing for the population variance, right? I'll do my population standard deviation, and then I will square it and get a much nicer number, which can be a fraction if I want, right? But that's how Desmos can do a lot of these statistical functions automatically for me.